would like to discuss a work on the new role startup in Vietnam economy. And so explain us the state of entrepreneurship in Vietnam. Okay, thank you very much.
Hi everyone. I guess some of you have heard about the word startup. So today I would like to talk about a little bit about startup, and that is a trending phenomenon in some developing countries, including my country, Vietnam. So my presentation is the new role of startup in Vietnam's economy, and today my presentation will be divided into 4 parts. The first part is the startup, new trend in the economy. Chapter 2 will be about the development and characteristics of startup in Vietnam. And follow that is a suggestion and conclusion about startup. There are so many definitions about startup in general, but shortly, startup is defined as a kind of business that is typically technology oriented and has a high potential growth in a short-term period. In Vietnam, the more entrepreneurial developmental activities are confined to micro, small, and medium enterprise sector, which is often termed as engine of growth. This sector contributes nearly 38% to national GDP, and 45% to total industrial production, and 40% to total export. Let's talk a little bit about the entrepreneurship. The word entrepreneur finds its origin in French word. I don't know how to read it, but it means to undertake. And entrepreneurship is a process of creating or seizing an opportunity and pursuing it regardless of resources currently controlled. There are so many functions an entrepreneur can perform, and they are illustrated by the chart that you can see on the screen. By a function of entrepreneurs Palmer in 1971. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the subjective factors as well as the objective. First, Vietnam has enjoyed strong economic growth. Since 1990, Vietnam's GDP per capita growth has been among the fastest in the world, averaging about 6.4% a year in the 2000s. Also, other indexes like standing index and poverty index got significantly decreased, and as well as the increase in the social outcomes, including like living standard, education, and health. And moreover, Vietnamese people have more chance to access to the information technology, or in short, IT, and to the world modern knowledge. So the boom of the internet is considered to be the crucial point in objective factors that leading to the startup wave in Vietnam. In 2016, the official newspaper of the Communist Party of Vietnam, Nhân Dân, published an article with the headline Startup Spring, which covered startups and reflected on improving institutional support to lower the risk of doing a startup in Vietnam. Not only standing there, startups in Vietnam also received so many gradually growing international support from a variety of resources. Maybe from foreign government like Finland or Belgium, or even from a regional perspective like the Asian Development Bank with Mekong Business Initiative project, and this funding from Australian aid. This is very important to talk a little bit about the advantages for startup in Vietnam. And the most remarkable point is this supporting and for small and medium enterprise. Finally, it was completed its 4th edition, right in May 2016. And after that, there's a decrease of passing the project supporting the startup ecosystem until 2025. Besides so many advantages for startup in Vietnam, there are many remarkable obstacles. Like we can name here is the lack of laws and legislation governing the venture capital funds. Or the most particular is the inefficient state of the capital market. That is a major setback for the startup in Vietnam also. Now I would like to move to the second part, that is about the development and characteristic of the startup in Vietnam. As you can see, there are three ways of development. The first establishment and the tech era of startup in Vietnam. In these two areas, there are some large IT companies that come into existence, like VNG, CB Corp, or Bazaar. And after that, there is mobility and internationalization. According to the Tech in Asia, Vietnam currently has less than 2,000 tech startups. And after huge influence by Flappy Bird from the start of 2014, which is well known as the Flappy Bird effect, the number of tech startups accelerated from this point. And I remember that this phenomenon is very popular at that time because in one day, the owner of that Flappy Bird application, you know, on the Android or iOS phone, he can earn about $50,000 for just in-app advertisement, and that is equal to a normal man in Vietnam, to earn his salary for 30 years. Also, financing startup or startup ecosystem, education in general are some very crucial points to talk about its characteristic in Vietnam startup. Also, the entrepreneurship skills required for startup in Vietnam should be discussed, like entrepreneurship skills, technical skills, and management skills. Now I would like to move to the chapter 3. It's about the suggestion for startup in Vietnam. From the government plans to launch an online portal that will keep startups updated about the technology, policies, and funding. And also, startups will even receive financial support from the government for training, product testing, and marketing. From the entrepreneur is also an important point. Someone find that Vietnamese entrepreneurs work about an average of 14 to 16 hours a day. But they are subjected to gain more technical backgrounds and should be more power in software development because the startup is based on the technical oriented, so they need to train more.
Excuse me. In your perspective, okay, your conclusion.
Yes.
I want to say something about your conclusion.
Yes. So after those points, Vietnam is subjected to improve a better and comprehensive environment as well as a suitable policy to underpin the startup and business. And of course, there are some pros and cons for startup in Vietnam. Startup businesses are important to almost all economies in the world, but especially to those in some developing countries, including Vietnam. However, there are some lack of general administration, experts group in financing and capital and financing planning are some remarkable obstacles for startup in Vietnam. So, from those points, there are some suggestions for the future startup of Vietnam. That is, Vietnam is a promising land for investment and development, with more well-educated young people, more access to modern world technology and knowledge. And that's it in my presentation. Thank you.